the first of two races here today. Real Races Never Quit by Team Redline, and Kelvin van der Linden will get himself first place. And it'll be Shane van Gisbergen alongside him on front row of the grid. Row number 2 will be Dani Juncadella and Lando Norris. And then in P number 5 will be Augustin Canapino, and then alongside him Sheldon van der Linden. Max Verstappen, Rene Rast, row number 4. Row 5, Matt Campbell, Jose Maria Lopez. Take us through 11 through 20 there. That's you, Johnny.
Oh, okay. They're coming through the rest of the grid here. We got Jimmy Broadbent starting in 23rd in the mint livery, starting all the way down the order. Revs are starting to drivers are getting a bit excited here. The race is still a few seconds away. Bent Biscal down the order as well. Louis Delatraz starting on the 17th row, right ahead of Mike Rockenfeller. If you ever heard of Mike Rockenfeller, a very handy racer in the DTM back in the day. Freddie Rasmussen, of course, our sim racers starting down the order. So Rasmussen, Van Buren, and a couple of others. Fabian Menentri will start down the back of the pack. They will be able to qualify for the second race, though, Will, which is important. But for now, though, they have to earn their way. I'll tell you what, they have to luck their way through the chaos that might ensue here on the opening lap. But it's going to be a pace lap for sure, so that's going to help in terms of cold tires, which is very important in this car, and will help van der Linden and Shane van Gisbergen break away from the pack.
It is that time of the day when we're going to see the tyre weave, which of course is always a favourite part of anyone in any form of motor racing. The worst example I ever saw, Jenson Button, Monza 2000 in his Williams when he crashed under the safety car. But yeah, the cars are getting themselves then underway, and there will be one full lap around this iRacing Porsche safety car. The key thing to note actually is we have a look in towards turn number 1. It's very wide. It's an asphalt runoff, but that curb, that little white curb on the outside of the corner, it is one thing, as we see a lot of brake testing, weaving already. That curb on the outside of 1, it can be a killer.
Yeah, it certainly can. As long as you rejoin the track, though, before the grass begins on the outside, I think you're good with that. You know, this car will be able to take the curb quite well. When you're in an open wheeler here, I mean, we used to have the Grand Prix series around here. You had to take the curb in a unique way and just try to avoid it. So I think in these cars, it won't be too big of an issue. As we watch the weaving going on, you want to do this to a point where you don't want to wear the tires out. You just want to heat them up. Some people take this a bit too far, but it's certainly going on down the pack. I'm liking this. I've seen some real-world drivers just do it subconsciously too, Will. I look at their point of view streams and I go, I know in iRacing that's not going to make a difference, but they just do it because they've done it their whole lives.
I really want to start singing some Spice Girls. Shake it to the left, shake it to the right, but I don't want to embarrass myself any further on this broadcast than I already have done. So it's worth noting, by the way, this is the first broadcast that we've worked together in almost 3 years. It feels good to be back home together. Yeah.
3 years? That's been like a year and a half. Has it really been 3 years?
It feels longer.
It feels like I miss you. I miss you. I love you too, Will.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so nice. But yeah, it has been, and it's brilliant to be back on board. Race by broadcast. I mean, it's, what is it, 6 a.m. here almost, 6:30 a.m. at the moment. So it's not the most time-friendly broadcast for myself, 7 a.m., but it's certainly one that I'd get up for, to see all this talent battle it out, fight it out here. Tom Dillman starting from 19th, very handy in a simulator. I've raced him a couple of times in the F3 on iRacing, which is very popular amongst the drivers, and he's insanely quick in that one. So Tom Dillman, someone who I think from 19th on the grid, once he gets used to this car, can be pretty quick.
Live timing and scoring is available. Visit racebot.tv/timing. There is a link in the YouTube description as well. I would put one on Twitch, but they don't trust me enough on their Twitch channel yet. Only on YouTube to actually do all the donkey work. So racebot.tv/timing, live.teamredline.co.uk if you want to get yourselves some fancy Twitch on board, lovings. But the pace car is going to work itself down and towards pit road. any moment now. Just they've got itself 2 corners left to go. Kelvin van der Linde at the front of your field, and of course you've got alongside him, well, he's V8's maestro in Shane van Gisbergen. This is going to be an exciting opening couple of corners. Pace car on towards pit road, green flag in the air. We are racing for 12 laps here at Watkins Glen International. A great look then down at the cars as they come down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. Top 15 all making it through with no issues. But now the track tightens up. Got 2 cars off at the rear of the field. But the key thing is the majority of them have worked themselves through the first couple of corners without major incident.
2 wide down the middle of the pack here as well. So it's still van der Linde who leads. Van Gisbergen's on the defensive. But look at the rest of the pack here. The cars never end as well, don't they? We're waiting for the field to end right now. Oh, 1 car off ahead of Verstappen. That's Augustin Canapino. He's into the wall possibly.
Yeah, and he's fallen well down the field as a consequence of that. He started up really well. He's inside your top 5 in qualifying, but he's lost out here. Dani Juncadella and Shane van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen battling out for 2nd place on track right now. Great little scraps going on in only a 12-lap race. Lando Norris, a lot of damage to the left-hand side of that car.
I mean, no point repairing that in such a short race here for 12 laps. He's already on the defensive. I think there's somebody having a look behind him. Verstappen certainly on the rear here of Norris as they climb up through the hill. So Max putting the pressure on his Formula 1 compatriot.
Yeah, as you've got Max Verstappen right behind. We go on board of Max right now as they come down second to last corner. You don't know when I overtake there, Max. Come on. You can under very brave circumstances, but normally one or both of you would end up in the wall. But we finished then at lap number 1 of 12 here at Watkins Glen in race number 1. And it's Kelvin van der Linde who leads away. And actually, he got a pretty good jump at the start of this race over Shane van Gisbergen. The gap is up to almost 8/10 of a second.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And what I love to see in this race as well is when we watch that battle between Verstappen and Norris, who are in 4th and 5th, you know, Verstappen's racecraft at this point of his career, it reminds me of an earlier Lewis Hamilton, you know, back in his GP2 days in 06, the 07 Hamilton. Verstappen still got that in his blood. So when it comes to racecraft, you can trust Max as he has a peek up the inside of Norris. It's a slightly off camera here, but they're going alongside each other here into the outer loop. And now they're still going to be alongside each other heading into the chute.
You can go around the outside, but Max just doesn't have the traction out there. And of course, one part of that is we go behind the trees. I think that chopper needs to, well, learn how to be a chopper operator, I'm going to say after that one. But Max Verstappen, you can go around the outside into turn 7. It's doable, but you need to have a rubbered-in track to do so.
Yeah, it certainly does, especially, but even when it marbles up there, it'll be especially tough. And I don't know in 12 laps how much it will rubber up, but with so many cars out there, it can certainly do so quickly. You're laying at least 1,000 laps worth of rubber with that many cars as we watch a couple of drivers here alongside each other. This is down the rear end of the order in the fight for, I think this is 15th and 16th. Yes, it is. Larry ten Voorde, Porsche Super Cup race winner, having a huge moment on the exit and keeps the Holden together.
He does, and that shows the resilience of some of these drivers and race cars as Stefan Van Dorn and Juan Pablo Montoya both came on towards pit road to get a tow on their car last time around. So what that means is they are going to be finishing way down the field in this the first of your races, and there's a lovely shot up the hill. And you can just see how narrow the track gets as well. You can just about fit 3 cars wide as you work yourself up the hill, but it requires all forms of majesty and perfect driving.
And the best way to practice it is, and this is why real racers love sim racing, is you can just jump into a practice session, have some scrimmage battles, as we like to say, some racecraft practice, and you can all put your skills to the test. You know, crashing doesn't matter. Oh, crashing does matter in this situation. Someone's straight off into the barrier up ahead.
That's a big hit. That's a huge hit there for Nicholas Cassidy. Let's get a replay.
It looks like a Holden I saw the other week around my neighborhood. It was quite beaten up. What's happened here? Oh, he's been helped around for sure twice.
Yeah.
Twice been helped around. He didn't actually hit the barrier a second time, the 2019 Super Formula champion, but he certainly was helped around a couple of times.
Yep, and that car, well, I'm sure you wouldn't get your warranty back on that one as it stands right now. As we've got Matt Campbell, Rene Rast, P6, P7. You've got yourself Rene Rast, who is the 2017, 2019 DTM champion. And I promised myself after butchering DTM on Monday, calling it the full name, I will never do that again on a Race One TV broadcast until the next time that I do it.
Oh god, I can't even pronounce that. But it's should I practice now? Probably not.
We'll do it in the break. We'll do it in the break.
Here's they're watching Lando Norris here in the 16. Big fan base. Lando Norris, what a personality he is as well. Great to have some flavor in Formula One. He's broken away though from Verstappen behind as we ride on board with the McLaren Formula One driver for 2020, and yeah, certainly not being touched here by Verstappen. Verstappen sort of dropped off the pace from the beginning of the race.
Yep, and there's a wonderful look to show you how long this straightaway is as well, especially when you've got yourself no bus-stop chicane. Rene Rast and Matt Campbell, they've just swapped positions actually down into the carousel, and you move Matt Campbell up into P6, Rene Rast goes down into P7.
Yeah, very handy move by Matt Campbell. You know, you'd think he'd be quick in this car, being an Aussie Kiwi from the club, as we watch everybody still fighting away down the back of the pack. So with so many cars out there, you'd stretch, I mean, how long's a lap here, Will? About 1:44.
Yeah.
If everybody was spread out evenly, we'd have about 2 seconds between each car on average. 3 seconds between each car on average. Like, that's insane. There's pretty much no clear track space around Watkins Glen as we ride on board with Jimmy B.
No, it's not. We're going to visualize that one to be in a moment's time with the power of me being able to hit multiple buttons, he says, as this is where everyone is on track right now. They are still bunched really close together towards the final sector of the racetrack, and it actually shows the fact that right now between your race leader and your 28th driver, you've got less than 25 seconds gap.
No, that's insane. I've never seen anything like it in quite some time. Jimmy B, though, is having a good event. He's up a few spots into the top 18. Big fan base. Jimmy Broadbent. Someone I remember about 5-6 years ago, he was an up-and-coming streamer on iRacing. I remember he hadn't even reached about 5,000 YouTube subscribers, or whatever you call them, followers. But he's really grown over the years as we ride on board with Dani Juncadella with a huge moment.
Yeah, that was really good car control there by Juncadella. You can tell he's really pushing it right now. He's only half a second back from Shane van Gisbergen as they work through turn 7, the notorious turn 7 on track. There's 2 corners that you'll often see people say they hate at this racetrack. Turn 7 and turn 11. The first corner after you go into the boot, and the first corner as you start to rejoin the boot.
Yeah, exactly. Now, whilst you brought up Van Gisbergen there, very surprised he's up this early. Although he'd be in New Zealand, wouldn't he? So they'd be about 9 a.m. right now, so it's not that early in the morning. But if you're from Australia, goodness me, it's very early in the morning right now. So credit to those guys. That's something that we always talk about in sim racing. If you're from the other side of the globe, it's always tougher. Still side-by-side battling down the mid-pack here.
Yeah, and there's way too many pink cars. Pink and green cars in the field for my liking. That is green. Unlike Jimmy B's car, we've got some proper pink going on with Job van Uret's car. We got on board of him actually, and then he's got Fredrik Rasmussen just ahead, which is ultra neon pink and, well, baby blue. No other way to say it.
It's hot pink, I think is a good way to put it. Freddie Rasmussen started from last, by the way, as we watch a couple of drivers have some peaks here. You don't want to touch the grass in the braking zone. Luckily, he's kept it together here. One driver taking straight off the racetrack there. That looked like the 48, Larry 10 Voorde. And now we ride on board with Job van Utrecht, and he's heading through the S's. Now onto the back straight. He's not going to pick up the draft from there. It's going to be tough from the driver ahead there, but I think for the moment you'll have to form up and just defend.
Yep. We're going to go back to that battle in about 20 seconds, in fact less than that, as soon as we can find it again. Let's just see what's going on, and there is Freddie Rasmussen at the front of that train right now, but this is Jimmy B getting into the mix as they work themselves through turn 7. On board with Jimmy B as they work themselves in the 00 car, and he just has he looks what?
He looks so tense, Will. You can see him just shaking the wheel. He doesn't look at this. He's driving this thing like a madman right now. It's you want to be a bit more relaxed than that, Jimmy, but he's coming into final couple of corners here through the boot, sending it, isn't he? And pulling that move off. I tell you what, a good one here as he goes and defends aggressively. I love the confidence now from Jimmy B.
It's almost as if he heard us and said, you know what, guys, we're going to show you what we can actually do. And he makes a great move there through turn number 10 on track. Larry 10 Foot just ahead of them on track is up into P15. He's got Freddie Rasmussen just ahead, but not for long, as they will come out the final corner, work towards turn number 1. Beautiful shot of this start-finish straight here at Watkins Glen International, and by some camera magic, I should be able to turn our attention back towards the front of your field, because there is your race leader. Kelvin van der Linde has had a boring race by all accounts of the imagination so far. He has led absolutely every lap of the race, and it's been almost a second ahead since the end of lap 2.
It's not boring when you can talk smack to everybody after the race. I tell you what, Will, I'd certainly be after this race giving it to every driver I beat if I win this race. Be asking them like, hey, like I didn't see you on track. How'd your race go? And they might have just been P2, like a second behind. You just say stuff like that just to tick them off. And, love this number, by the way, the number 69 of Verstappen. He's in P5. He's remained in this spot since the early laps. He's finally caught Mr. Norris, though. That was a second about a few laps ago. Now down to about 3/10.
He is, as we're on board with Verstappen as they head themselves through. This is turn number 11. As you see, it's banked to start off with, but flattens off as you get back onto the, what we like to call the old part of the racetrack. And I'm surprised that we haven't seen more drivers spin there. Also, Antonio Felix da Costa, we talked about him not qualifying. He's up to P number 17, so like Frederick Rasmussen, worked himself up well for the first 2/3 of this race.
Yeah, good stuff as well. So plenty of action to go. We've got a second race coming up. So this is only the first one. Don't leave us. Don't think this is just 12 laps and we're going to leave you for the rest of the day. Plenty of racing action with your favorite drivers out there. As Antonio Felix da Costa, well, he's just been let past there.
Yeah, that was a wave a $10 bill out the side of the window and someone grabs it as you go past. Easy level of overtaking. There's no other way of saying it here. It's Richard Vrescor versus Jean Van Urik battling out. Of course, Macau formed the free winner for the number 17 car. And Macau is... That's a free wide I was telling you about earlier on, by the way. You can do it on the exit of the S's, but at least they waited 2 wide, 2 deep, and a little bit of manoeuvring going on there. Down in this battle, P17, 18, 19, and a bit of a push as well.
Oh, that's insane. Some great racing here. And that's not going to work. I was going to say, don't make it 3 wide heading into here as you join the boot section. What a thrilling shot here on board as we try to fight and scramble for position. Oh, is there somebody spun up ahead? Is someone on their roof?
Antonio Felix da Costa. Let's try and get a real... Da Costa, what did you just do?
I got hit from behind. Having an amazing race from last to whatever. And I just got hit. I'm upside down.
Was that Einstein Kuben who hit you?
No, it was Larry, whatever his name is.
Ah, him. Okay, thanks for the update. This is real life driver interviewing we're doing right now here.
I'm upside down. Come and get me. I'm hanging here like a cow.
we'll call the medical crew over to you in a moment's time as we try to get back to some live pictures here. And it was the number 48 car of Larry 10 Voort, who is a Porsche Super Cup winner, so it's in the right ballpark at the very least there. And himself and Einstein Guben, they are both running the same colour car. So I wasn't going to just squint at a number when it's going that quickly across the screen.
I found it funny, the pure reaction in the heat of the moment, which is an awesome interview. You only get that in sim racing as well. Bit of laugh afterwards, for sure, for Felix da Costa. But you can tell he was wasn't happy with it anyway. As we watch the drivers pedal across the back straight. Yeah, another time. Richard Verschoor here. Macau F3 Grand Prix winner. I hope he's tried the F3 on iRacing because it's a thrilling car. One of the best out there on the service.
I would absolutely love to have Macau on iRacing.
Oh, wow.
Now, I mean, in terms of list of dream tracks, it's one that I don't think's ever been mentioned. But could you imagine, first of all, the amount of safety rating that everyone. But then secondly, the great racing that you could have there in terms of a time trial. I mean, that would be up there with the Nordschleife in terms of ability. I
mean, the iRacing developers, as good as they are, that would be such a tough track to develop. So hopefully they do get it on the service one day. My dream is to have Albert Park on there one day as we watch a few people get a bit loose under braking here into the final sections of the boot. Running on board with Sasha Fenestraz, rejoining the NASCAR circuit through turn 11. A couple of laps to go here. Tire wear won't be too much of an issue in this car, and even though some of these drivers, this will be the longest run they've ever done in this car before.
Yeah.
They should start to feel it, but again, if the races seem to be stagnant down there at the top end of the order, but the battles continue outside your top 10.
And also, you talk about the fact that they're going to start feeling it. These cars are an absolute, you've got to really wheel around the racetrack. And of course, these people are all in great physical shape, but 12 laps of driving a V8 supercar, you are going to feel it in those little muscles there, or big muscles.
If you want to work out, get a direct drive wheel and up your force feedback to 100. That's a workout. You'll pull your shoulder out of your socket. It's that bad. And if you don't, you'll have some Dwight Howard shoulders in a few months. As we still watch the scrapping going on. Direct drive wheels making a huge difference in sim racing. I think some of these guys are running them. I guess a few of the other new ones would have the entry level wheels. Is this the lead battle here? Yes, it is. The action's on though. Van Gisbergen's catching Kelvin van der Linde up in the first position.
I'll tell you what, if we were doing like a Linus Tech video or something right then, we would have done a perfect segue into a sponsorship plug for Fanatec, but we're not Linus Tech Tips. Fanatec haven't sponsored us, so we can't do it, unfortunately, as much as I would have really loved to have done so right there. But the gap is below a second, first time in 8 laps. And for SVG, do you think he's been playing the waiting game? Actually saying, okay, you go ahead, now I'm going to come ahead.
No, he hasn't been playing the waiting game. He hasn't been planned to do that, but I certainly think he's probably managed the tires better. Worst thing you want to do in this car is have wheel spin on version 7 tires, as it's known on iRacing, which has been new in the past 6 months. So the more wheel spin you have, you're going to heat up the tires too much. It's just going to be slower to drive, and it hurts the tire life in the long term. But I certainly think he's driving it smooth, which is one of the critical elements to driving a supercar quick in the real world. I've been studying those guys ahead of the All-Star Series, and even Jamie Whincup, one of the legends of the series, you watch his throttle traces and his brake traces, it's just one motion all the time. He's not fighting the wheel at all.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just saying lots of really interesting things there and forgot the fact. But so Lando Norris and Daniel Juncadella, that is 1.1 second on track. Kelvin van der Linde, Shane van Gisbergen, 0.6 of a second on track. And the white flag's coming out this time by only one more lap to go. Who's got it for the win?
Oh, let's see. Let's find out. The race is on. Let's do it here. Let's go, SVG. I'm supporting the Kiwis across the ocean here in Australia. Kelvin van der Linde has driven so well this race, though. I don't think he's... I tell you what, look, as much as I'd hope Shane to win this one, I don't think Kelvin's going to be pipped from P1. He's just driving that thing to perfection right now. Even through the exit of the S's there, it looks smooth. Bit of touch of the grass there. That won't hurt you. If anything, it's probably quicker, just widening the line a little bit, carrying more speed. What a race it's been so far, though. Loving this one. Looking forward to race 2. Not over, though. Still 7/10 a gap. We'll keep track of it.
It's not over by any shout or the imagination. A lot can happen in a lap here around Watkins Glen International. And SVG there was very aggressive onto the brakes, catching his wheel out a little bit, as the battles behind have mainly calmed down. So I'm going to keep it with you for this one at the front of the field between Kelvin van der Linde and Shane van Gisbergen. They've got themselves now just half a lap to go, as well. Anything can happen still with 3 corners to go, but time is running out for SVG.
He lost it at the carousel, lost about 2/10 there as we watched him touch the grass on entry under braking. Now he's looking him widen the line here. That's a good lesson for you new sim racers out there and how to drive quick. Widen the line as much as possible at Watkins Glen. Get up close to the grass. He's doing everything right now, pulling every trick in the book he's got, but it's just too little too late, Will. It looks like van der Linde is going to win this one. A well-deserved victory.
Yep, 2 corners to go. Now just 1 corner to go. Kelvin van der Linde has led every single lap of this race here today. Out the final corner, past the start-finish line, the ADAC GT Masters champion of 2019 wins race number 1 here in the 3rd Real Racers Never Quit, part of Team Redline, and it's donut time for Kelvin van der Linde.
I'm loving it. I'm a bit like, if I was someone behind, I'd just ram straight into him here on the front straight. Why not? Have a bit of a pile up. We did it in the Supercars E-Series last year. We had the drivers send it over through the chase.
I saw that.
As they went through the gravel. Yeah, all 12 cars. That was quite entertaining. They do it every year as well in the Bathurst 1000. But brilliant race from van der Linde. Well-deserved win. Shane had the pace, though, Mr. Van Gisbergen. So I'm looking forward to seeing his pace in race 2. I think he'll fare quite well. But again, we're going to repeat this all in a few minutes' time. Good events as well for Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Top 5 spots.
Let's have a look then through your final race results from this race number 1. And Kelvin van der Linde, the ADAC GT Masters champion of 2019, winning by 1.024 seconds over Shane van Gisbergen. I'm sure some of the techie guys would absolutely love that. Dani Juncadella, 2nd place. So, Daniel, start again, Will. Shane van Gisbergen, 2nd place. Daniel Juncadella in 3rd. Lando Norris in P number 4. And Max Verstappen, who is, of course, the quote-unquote championship leader, is in 5th place. And he'll get a good points haul from this one. Matt Campbell in P number 6. Rene Rast in P7. Jesse Kroner in P number 8, Augustin Canapino in 9th, and Bruno Spengler rounds out your top 10. Looking to see where the first of these sim racing drivers are that have been invited, and it's Frederick Rasmussen who comes home in P number 13. So good job by Freddie coming from the rear of the field right to the front, Johnny.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Freddie Rasmussen, who once had an I rating, for those who are involved in iRacing, I think it was 9999, and he didn't want to reach 10K, and now it's down to like 9.5K. I don't know what's happened in the past few months, but Freddie Rasmussen, one of the best on the service. F1 Esports Constructors Champion too, so someone who's well accustomed to the world of sim racing. Not a surprise for him to climb up the order.
We had 34 drivers finish either on the lead lap or 1 lap down. And then there's a look through the retirees right now, as let's say goodbye to the pictures for a moment, and let's say hello to that waiting screen. Ow. Red line, and here's a look at your starting grid. At the front of your field, it's a sim racer in Frederick Rasmussen. Alongside him is Turismo Cartella and Super TC 2000 champion Augustin Canapino. Kelvin van der Linde from the ADAC GT Masters rolls out in 3rd place, and the V8 Supercars star of Shane van Gisbergen will roll out in P4. Lando Norris, not the Lando bots, but the Formula 1 driver, will roll out in P number 5. Rudy van Bruin, he will roll off P number 6. Max Verstappen from Formula 1 in P number 7, and Super Cup vice champion in 2019, Anchen Kuben, rounds out your top 8. 9th place, Antonio Felix da Costa and Rene Rast rounds out that top 10. Johnny, P number 11 through 20, it's all yours.
Nicholas Cassidy will start from 11th, the 2019 Super Formula champion, just ahead of Bruno Spengler, the 2012 DTM champion. Bruno Spengler, a legend in DTM for sure. We find Sheldon van der Linde, who qualified well in the first race, now starting outside the top 10. He had a top 6 starting spot in race 1. So let's see if he can make amends for his poor qualifying performance. And then down the order, we see Jose Maria Lopez, who starts from the 19th position. Tristan Vautier, former IndyCar driver, will round out your top 20.
Indeed, so sorry, I was just shouting at my cat there. One of my cats is licking cat parts. The other cat's eating from the wrong cat's cat bowl. You know what that's going to mean. The rest of those results then coming up on your screen right now, as it is a stacked field once again here. Jimmy B starts in P number 26 for those wondering where's Jimmy. Well, he's right there. And those rest of those results coming through on your screen as we speak. There's your top 40 drivers qualified for this event. And again, some people who didn't qualify for the race. So that is your grid. There's a wonderful look through turns number 2, 3, and 4. And now it's a case of just waiting for this pace lap. And it does give them a good opportunity to actually get those tyres warmed up with a full pace lap here.
Yeah, what you want to do on the pace lap is quickly untick the fuel as well. You don't want to fill up the fuel in case you want a fast repair or going for a pit stop. So you get that out of the way. Only a 12-lap event. Because there's some people who will tow back to the pits, and iRacing just add the fuel in automatically. So if you end up in an incident, untick that. You'll have a lighter car when you get back out on track. And you want to warm up these tires. These are on what's known as version 7 tires. iRacing's best tire model so far. And they really do act the same. Very similar as you see in the real world. You're going to have to warm up the tires, swerve over the racetrack, get the heat in, but not too much to the point where you wear them out. So you've got to find the fine balance between the two.
Well, the sim races on this one, they've got a lot of drivers behind them. Are they going to be worried about intimidation, do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Not Freddie Rasmussen. That guy's as confident as ever, if you've ever met him. So I don't think Freddie Rasmussen will be too shaken by it. But, I mean, Rudy Van Buren's, gone up in the race of champions in the real world against a bunch of these guys. And, look, I tell you what, the main thing is, if you're confident in your own shell and you have nothing to prove here, it's all a fun event, there's no need to be nervous.
It's not. We're riding on board with Lando Norris. You know what? We just had his old club there, Club UK 9. I remember commentating on him when I was a younger man on Monday Night Skippies, which is a series that we've done for I don't know how many years, almost 6 years now, on RaceSpot. And it's been great to see him come up through the field. Of course, he's kept his sim racing roots as well, which is great. Yeah,
it's great to see. He's such a genuine bloke, and a guy that I don't think will ever change. Over the next 20 years, he's a great personality for the motor racing world. But he's going to throw all that out the window. He's going to have some fun for sure here. But it's going to tell you what, race 2, final time to get competitive. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, pace car got 2 corners to go before it comes on towards pit road, as the drivers will now cease their weaving of tyres for just a moment's time. And they'll work down towards the final corner on this track. It's Freddie Rasmussen, Augustin Canapino, front row of your field. Pace car in, green flag in the air. Let's go racing again at Watkins Glen. Four wide, almost trouble there down at turn number 1, down in your mid-pack, Johnny.
That looked like Dani Juncadella, who just got hit a bit too hot on the brakes. He tried to find a gap that was very slim, but he's okay now through the exit. A couple of drivers off the racetrack here through the S's. That's never going to end well here ahead of Juncadella. That looks like a Dani Juncadella who started from 8th, and now he's being swamped by the field. He's outside the top 20 almost.
Yeah, that is one of the worst things you ever can do on lap number 1. Here's another look then. Dani Juncadella through turn number 1. There's a lot of drama going on around him. And then does he get pushed off by his teammate? They do come together through the hill. And actually, I'm surprised he kept that one on the island full stop.
Yeah, goodness me. What a save by Guven. He's now outside the top 20, like we said. He's in the 20th position, so he's trying to make amends for that. He's got the pace for it as we watch some slicing and dicing going on here. Is that Antonio Felix da Costa with a brilliant move?
Yeah, Antonio Felix da Costa, a great start then in this second race. Going to go on board of him, actually, and have a look now from the rear, because he's got himself Nicholas Cassidy and Rene Rast just behind. 12-lap race here. Worth noting that at the front of your field, Freddie Rasmussen does still have the lead. 2 big retirees in your first lap as well. Hilda van der Gaard and Kelvin van der Linde. They are showing at the top of your line timing, but that won't be the case once these drivers come past the start-finish line. We're on board of Rene Rast.
No, actually, Will, other way around. So Van der Linde has actually snatched the lead here from Rasmussen. Yes.
You're right. Sorry, just my timing graphic all over the place. But there is Kelvin van der Linde. He's back to where he was in the first race. So technically, under US rules, he's led every lap.
Yeah, technically, exactly. Here's Van der Linde, who's proven his worth against one of the best sim racers in existence right now in Freddie Rasmussen. And he's quite a handy sim racer himself as Kelvin van der Linde, but the battle continues here for the lead across the back straight as Rasmussen's going to force himself to the outside, and he's going to be squeezed almost by van der Linde. Leaves no room there, but brilliant, clean racing.
And we go on board Augustin Canapino, of course. In race number 1, it was at the carousel where he lost himself an absolute boatload of time. But right now, Canapino, good start to the second race, looking to avenge the issues he had in race number 1 as he works in 3rd place, as it's much more stacked in your top 10 than it was in race number 1.
Yeah, it certainly is right now. Hot talent out there. Verstappen's down in a 10th position. He's fighting here. Oh, he's trying to look for a move on Rene Rast. Apologies, that was off camera. I was looking at a different feed. But Max Verstappen there and the number 69 Holden trying to make the outside line work. Sheldon van der Linde here is very aggressive on the defensive, and now Verstappen's got full rear lock just to keep that car on the racetrack. Here's a replay on screen though, and we'll keep with it until turn 11, but Verstappen on full rear lock on a move there.
Yep, so here's the first move. They then go side by side, and then as they get out of this is down in towards turn number 11. Back, you could just see the back end stepping out. A lot of damage as well to that number 69 car. As we go back to live pictures ahead, by the way, that is Rene Rast and Nicholas Cassidy going side by side into 1.
Nice racing right now. That's right ahead of Max Verstappen, who finally made his way past Sheldon van der Linde. Verstappen's in that white Holden, nails the line through the S's. I think Rene Rast are going to be on the back foot here. He had picked up so much understeer, and we ride on board here with a Red Bull Racing driver.
Yep, as work towards the carousel again. One of the drivers in that field, by the way, does seem to have a couple of technical issues as they worked through the carousel. Great little look from up above here. They head themselves behind the trees. We pick them up again. Right about there. They all settle down for the moment, as the camera then turns itself around, and we go back on board with Verstappen as they work now down into toe corner. I think, by the way, social media, it is, I think there's a battle going on. What's the most annoying thing in this broadcast? Is it my commentary, or is it that livery on that number 25 car, Freddie Rasmussen?
Oh, goodness me. The hot rod livery we were talking about before.
Yeah.
As is that Rasmussen on screen? No, it's not. We're watching a battle down the mid-pack. And again, I'm watching that off-camera feed as well. Well, Verstappen is really pushing it right now as we watch Jesse Krohn here. He's the sports car star, being swamped by a couple of drivers ahead of him. That looked like Martin Kodrich. Even one Pablo Montoya into the P23 position up ahead. Oh, and a car on its roof.
Yep, that is Jesse Crone. I was about to say he should know this track pretty well because of the fact that, of course, the IMSA Sports Car Championship runs here, and Crone is on pit road then. He's had to get that car back to the pits, but we're on board with JPM. He's a race winner, an IndyCar champion, and a two-time Indy 500 winner, and even he has the back end of the car stepping out in turn number 1.
Oh, brilliant stuff by JPM. I remember when you came back to IndyCar in 2014, Will. That was, oh no, just as I was saying that.
That's not
JPM. A hospital. That's not JPM, but that's a hospital trip for Christopher here. Oh, goodness me. Get the medic out. We can laugh because it's sim racing, Will. Are we allowed to laugh at this? Oh, no.
It's a bad crash, a very bad crash then for him. And yeah, you can see that car on the replay causing a free car incident on pit road. Not the end to the race for Christopher Mears at all, as we're going to check in with that battle out front. And we're on board from the rear of Kelvin van der Linde in the ADAC GT Masters Champion of 2019. The number 31 car has got Fredrik Rasmussen just behind him by a quarter of a second. But then you've got Augustin Canapino running in 3rd place. You've got Lando Norris running in 4th place. And it's worth noting your top 4 drivers are separated by 1 second right now.
If you're new to supercars racing in Australia, this is the norm right now. These gaps, you know, technically in Formula One, you'd have similar gaps, but it would look like 1 second apart. In V8s, you can run so closely to each other. These cars are much heavier on the brakes, of course, too. They've evolved over the years. They've become quicker, but they just promote this close-fought racing as we ride on board with Norris, the McLaren Formula One driver, who's been on iRacing, Will, for those that might not know, for at least, how many years now? 5 years at least? 6 years possibly?
I actually tried to look this one up the other day. It's been quite a while, because we're on board with Dani Juncadella. They were almost going to go 3 wide up the hill. There's a look from the rear of Dani Juncadella. He's got Jose Maria Lopez just behind him, and WTC's champion for Jose Maria Lopez. I'm sure I said too many C's there, but I'm going to move on. As Maria Lopez runs in 12th place, Juncadella in 11th place, and then Max Verstappen in P number 10. So unlike race number 1 when things calmed down a little bit, this race is not calming down at all.
Well, there's a bit of trash talk going on behind the scenes. I think Verstappen was getting a bit rowdy with Rene Rast, and Rene Rast comes chiming back at him saying, "Did you have a brakes failure, Max?" There's no brakes failures in this car. So a bit of comments going on down the back of the pack. We ride on board with our multiple-time Formula One winner of Verstappen as he gets a bit of an oversteer moment through the apex there. And I think on his right side here, I saw in the mirrors, he's alongside somebody. That's the number 23 of Daniel Juncadella.
Yep, and it's been a great lap actually for Max, because he's had a great set of battles going on. Daniel Juncadella at P number 11 right now. They've got Sheldon van der Linde just ahead of them, who's a driver that's been having some technical difficulties, which I think is distracting Verstappen a little bit. I'm sure I can probably hear, if we were to go down to the Redline channel right now, Max shouting blue flags or something towards a race director.
That's something I would do. You should have seen my race yesterday, Will. I had my microphone off, so I'm typing blue flags furiously at all these lap cars not getting out of the way. But I had a great race last night. The beauty of sim racing, race any time of the day. You don't have to take your car to the racetrack. You don't have to have millions of dollars up your alley. As we watch the battle for the lead here, it looks like it's Rasmussen trying to fight for the lead around the outside of Kelvin van der Linde, but van der Linde defends. He's got the camber to work with there on the inside, but I've seen Rasmussen will try that the past few laps. It just hasn't worked, that outside line, and van der Linden's going to know that. He's going to have that in his memory, that to defend the inside, it's going to work lap after lap.
I think that Freddie's been watching some of our old broadcasts in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series from back in the day. Of course, Team Redline driver Gregor Hooter, 5-time champion in when we were doing the commentary as well. And it's worth noting that you can make the outside line work, but you really need to have the hope that your car won't kind of just slide off the track down into that asphalty area because you'll lose so much time if you do so. You've also got to pinch the driver on the inside down a little bit as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. You're spot on right there. And what doesn't make it easy is the marbles there on the outside. As this track wears throughout the race, there'll be a lot more marbles present as we watch Van Gisbergen versus Rudy Van Buren, the best of the real world versus the best of the sim, who's now jumped into the real world in the Porsche Carrera Cup. But like we were talking about before, that Grand Prix series, you mentioned 5-time world champion Gregor Hutu. We talk about legends of Juan Pablo Montoya. What a legend is Gregor Hutu. Really love to see him racing in an event like this, hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, Gregor, always calm and collected. Remember the days of Mikko Jensen, by the way. Big crash down at turn number 1. LMP2 driver, former ELMF champion as well. Let's get a replay up for you as he looks down to the inside. I think that's the 16 car. And the two came together. I'm trying to work out exactly who that was he tried to come down. I believe it's actually the number 6. Yeah, I did see the 6. It was Neil Verken then in the number 6 car, the former Ford USA champion of 2016. They were the two cars that made contact. And you can see the damage actually to the right-hand side and the left-hand side even of the number 6's car. Yeah, so unfortunate for them in this race, like we said, it's all in good fun, these races during a tough time in the world for the moment. But I tell you what, it's you also want to have a good time. You don't want to be shoved off the racetrack. You don't want to have a DNF. It's quite demoralizing. But at the end of the day, this is the lead battle. They had a thrilling fight as well when I was keeping track of it again through the outer loop and through the chute. They're coming towards the end of the lap here. And Augustin Canapino, I think, had a nose alongside Rasmussen, who might have backed off the pace as he was side-by-side with Van der Linde. So it's all heating up here. Canapino's impressed me for sure. I'd love to see Norris in this scrap as well, because if we could see his mirror, at the moment we just see Canapino's virtual helmet, you would be able to see Norris all over the rear end of him. Yeah, the gap is about 0.8 of a second right now. Norris did lose a little bit that last time by, but not much. And again, they're still within a second of each other, so they work themselves up the hill. Actually, let's go looking forwards, because Canapino, I was going to say he had a great run, but he just completely messed up by the looks of it, part of the S's, and lost a couple of tenths of a second, still within about a third of a second, but he had the opportunity there to go alongside, but didn't really manage to make that one work. Yeah, well, he's having some technical issues there. You can see him just blinking a little bit, so hopefully his internet connection lasts. Again, that's the beauty of sim racing. You might not have the likes of engine failures and stuff like that, but certainly have these connection issues which will put you out just as you would in the real world. This is Bruno Spengler. We watch. Are you going to pronounce DTM in full again? I'm looking forward to it. I'll do so in a minute. As we are on board with Bruno Spengler right now in the number 7 car. As he's got Dani Juncadella just ahead of him. He's got himself Jose Maria Lopez just behind right now as they work towards heel corner on track. And, well, they've got themselves now just about 3.5 laps of this race to go. If I can count all the way up to 12, that is, which I think I can just about do so. Richard Westbrook, by the way, having a battle, and he's just got himself past Martin Tomczak, who is the 2011 Deutsche Touring Wagon Masters car champion. Oh, you did it. Oh, goodness me. That was pretty good, actually. You made it sound like, when we were talking earlier, you made it sound a lot worse. It was actually pretty good. But there'll be a few drivers now on lap 9 or 12. We hope this race will end soon enough. Probably not enjoying the track and car. They're finding themselves off the pace. You know what I used to do, Will, is I think one race I was like, this is back in the World Championship on another sim, and I knew the broadcast would capture me. So as soon as I crossed the line, I basically parked, quit my entire sim, and the broadcast basically flicked to the scenic camera. That's how fast I quit. Wow. Just because I was so pissed off. But you'll notice that with sim racers, when the sim racer's annoyed, they're going to quit the server as quickly as possible. We all do that. Hashtag rage quit, as we've got side by side. Nicholas Cassidy, Sheldon Van der Linde right now. This is going on for 8th place on track. And it looks to be like Nicholas Cassidy has lost out there. Stoffel Van Dorn, by the way, just had himself a crash. Going to get ourselves a replay of that one, because, well, he's towards the rear of the field anyway, but he looks as though he is now officially out of this event. Not sure whether he just literally gave you the example. Oh, no, back end, stepping out.
Oh, he saved it. He saved it 3 times. I think the contact at the end there that just killed him.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, it was that contact. And again, I mean, he did a good job holding it for about 15 seconds. But then that final little love tap is what got it. And, your man's out, unfortunately. Montoya. Yeah, Montoya's out. Replay's up.
Having a good race too. You started 37th. He was into your mid-top 20. So what's happened at JPM? Oh, he's just into the barrier. So it's unfortunate for Juan Pablo. See what happened here. Is this all on his own? I think he's touched the grass, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a tap, actually. No, so he's been forced off the racetrack there by someone. And then, unfortunately, is had to park that. Back to Stoffel Van Dorn quickly. People forget, I raced against him back in 2012 on the sim as we watch. I'm not sure who that is 26. Who pushed number 26. Who's that? I have to be... I can't find the number 26 on the timing screen.
There we are. There's the number 26. There's your victim. It is Sasha Venstratz in the all-black number 26 car. But you're making your point about Stoffel then.
Oh, yeah, so Stoffel Van Dorn, back in 2012, I raced against him a couple of times. One of the quickest sim racers in the world. He used to compete in World Championship sim racing. He was seriously, back then, before he even, I think he was racing in Formula 3.5 the next year or something. He's a very unknown racer, but the dude was very quick. He's been on simulators for quite some time, but just like me, when you've retired for a few years and you haven't touched the sim, you look what happens to his pace. He's a bit off the schedule, but I think if you give Van Dorn time, he can certainly be one of the best out there in the world.
There's your top 8, by the way, running along the bottom of your screen. Kelvin van der Linde leads away by 4 attempts per second over Freddie Rasmussen. Augustin Canapino in 3rd place. Lando Norris in 4th. Jane van Gisbergen rounds out your top 5. Note the fact your top 5 is still within 2.7 seconds of your race leader. Rudy Van Buren in P number 6. Antonio Felix da Costa, P number 8. And Sheldon van der Linde, brother of Kelvin, rounds out your top 8 with 2 laps of this race to go. Looking for the double maybe here for Kelvin van der Linde.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it as well. I mean, not to underestimate his ability, just when he qualified 3rd, I really thought Rasmussen was going to win this one. But van der Linde has just seriously impressed me. He looks, he's pulling a shifty here though. He's changing his line. He's doing what I would do. Break the rules, to change your line multiple times on the straight. Rasmussen won't be pleased with that. I'm sure van der Linde will have a laugh.
Come on, are you telling me that Freddie Rasmussen's never done this as Freddie goes down to the outside in turn number 7? We've got ourselves someone looking to get 2 races and look how close that was for Freddie Rasmussen. Get themselves the replay up then on board with him. He tried a high-risk move down in turn number 7. There was a little bit of contact between the two of them. Freddie avoiding the barrier there, but that was mighty close racing. High-risk move in 7, though. You've got to expect to not always come out the other side.
No, exactly. I love that. This bad blood cleanses the soul. Race on. It's not racing without a bit of blood. So, brilliant stuff between the two there. That was like 07, 08 Lewis Hamilton, one of my favorite drivers in Formula 1. Just sort of taking the racing line, pretending, yeah, mate, I don't see you there. You can go off the road. That was just brilliant racing by van der Linde. And Rasmussen will be trying something different here because with 1 to go across the line, he's only got 1 lap left.
He has white flag, last lap of this event and our day's activities. We're looking on board with Augustin Canapino a moment ago, wondering what's going to happen here up the hill because Canapino was about this close before, but just got understeer through the S's. Let's see how this whole draft situation is going to work, and Canapino does actually lose out a little bit again. This might open the door to Lando Norris in P number 4, by the way, and look how close Lando is as they head themselves down towards the carousel. They're weaving everywhere right now. It's a bit like a teenage disco between all of these drivers. Lando tries around the outside, can't make it stick.
Canapino's driving well, although he did touch the wall there at the S's. So I heard a bit of a tap with the wall, and that cost him a bit of time. And we'll have a bit of damage here to win the lap. And Shane van Gisbergen rounding out the top 5s, also having a look here for a position. I think Rasmussen's going to have to form up in second. He's going to have one last attempt at it in this final overtaking spot at the heel at turn 8. It's a downhill braking zone, and this can always end in chaos.
It can. We're looking from the rear of Kelvin van der Linde as they work towards turn 10 for the final time on this racetrack. We're keeping an eye out to see what's going on at Lando as well, and Austin Canapino, because they're close as they come down into 11. Around the outside doesn't work, but the under-over might do for Lando. He can't. He gets really loose through turn number 11, and that opens the door to Shane van Gisbergen a little bit. But here we are, final corner, final time. He's going to do the double. Out the final corner he comes. Kelvin van der Linde is a 2-time winner here on Friday night in Real Racers Never Quit by Team Redline. And that was a much closer battle at the end of that race.
What a race again. What I love to see after a race. Everybody piling up, having a bit of fun. Brilliant stuff from van der Linde, who, again, didn't expect him to win 2 from 2. He's proved everyone wrong at home. He's such a thrilling driver, isn't he? And broke the rules a little bit on the defensive, but we're still racing here with Tom Dillman, who is right behind Job van Uret, and across the line they go. That's the battle for P20. So, and there we go. That's the crashes I like to see after the race.
Wow, crazy, crazy finish. Let's run through your final race results here from Watkins Glen International. Kelvin van der Linde does the double in the number 31 car, winning out by just under a second over Freddie Rasmussen. And Rasmussen, well, yeah, we're going to quote the song lyrics. He did try so hard, and he did get so far, but in the end, it's only P number 2 for him this evening. Augustin Canapino, 3rd place then, and he had a much better race number 2. Of course, don't forget in race number 1, he had an incident early on that hindered his progress. Lando Norris, P number 4. With Shane van Gisbergen, P number 5. Rudy van Bruin in P6. Antonio Felix Acosta gets himself a much better race 2 result, coming home in 7th place. Sheldon van der Linde rounds out your top 8. Nicholas Cassidy in 9th. And Max Verstappen rounds out your top 10, Johnny.
Down from 11th to 20th, it's Daniel Juncadella, who had a action-packed beginning to the race and still ends up in that 11th position, right ahead of Jose Maria Lopez. Larry ten Voorde ended up in the 13th position ahead of Bruno Spangler. Good race from Bruno Spangler after starting down the order as well. Good event as well for Richard Westbrook, who rounded out the top 16. Felipe Albuquerque, former Daytona 24-hour winner, ended up in 18th, and the top 20 was rounded out by Sacha Fenestraz, the Frenchman, 30 seconds down on race winner Kelvin van der Linde.
There are the rest of those results coming up on your screen right now as well. 2 absolutely fun races to commentate there, Johnny.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, these Redline broadcasts are awesome. Brilliant stuff to Dom Doohan and the rest of the team for getting these sorted. Credit to you as well behind the scenes for getting all these sorted last minute too. But, man, you know, to see the top talent in the world still race during this tough time, how many other sports can say that?